In the latest NFL head coaching rankings, Robert Saleh came in 25th, 7th worst. Is that fair? What is going on, guys? Matt O'Leary back with another video. Today I want to get into Robert Saleh and if he really is the 25th best head coach in the league or 7th worst, however you want to spin that. Before we get started today, Matt O'Leary NY, make sure to follow along. Also, you can check out the Just Jets podcast. New episodes drop every single Wednesday. Call in and leave me your reactions. Okay, so Ross Tucker of the 33rd team dropped his head coaching rankings going into the 2023 season. And I was curious to see where Robert Saleh fell on this list. I will let you know where that is. I've said it a few times already. It's 25th. And talk about if that is fair or not, where I would put him and who was below him, I suppose, or guys in front of him that I would put him ahead of, I guess. So let's first start with the people who are below Robert Saleh. At the bottom, you have the three new head coaches, Jonathan Gannon, D'Amico Ryans, and Shane Steichen. Those are the bottom three. At 29, Josh McDaniels. 28, Matt Eberflus. 27, Dennis Allen. Todd Bowles, 26th. And then Robert Saleh comes in at number 25. I don't think any of the coaches underneath are better than Saleh, so I have no issue there. There are three coaches in front of Robert Saleh on Ross Tucker's list that I would put Robert Saleh ahead of. The first is Brandon Staley. I don't know if that's maybe a hot take or not. I know that some people loved Brandon Staley in his first year because of how aggressive he was. And he went for it on fourth down all the time. And it's great. This is the way the NFL is going. Great defensive mind, this and that. I don't buy it. That's a team that has a lot of talent that has underachieved under his watch. They missed the playoffs in a brutal performance in the last week of the year, a couple of years ago. And then this past year blew a massive lead at halftime to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And they had Trevor Lawrence shook in the first half. They had like 3 picks in the first half. And then Lawrence just turns the light switch on, balls out in the second half, and they choke. The 2 years that he's been there, in their final game, they have choked massively. And so I would put Staley lower on that list. He was 20th in his rankings. I'd probably put him 24, 25. Then next up is Ron Rivera. I know that he's had success at the NFL level, specifically with the Carolina Panthers, but I don't think he's done a really great job in Washington. I think his gimmick is kind of wearing thin there. They could probably use a change, and I wouldn't be surprised if they eventually did that. But over the last few years, it's kind of been rough for Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera hasn't had a winning record since 2017. He's gone, let's see, 7-9, 5-7 in the year that he got fired, 7-9, 7-10, and 8-1. The last 3 years was with the Washington Commanders. He's going into his 4th year with the Commanders. I don't really think he should be ahead of Robert Saleh at this point. I would say 25 was probably where I would put Ron Rivera, actually. Rivera was 19 on this list, and the guy who that was 18 I would also put below Robert Saleh, and that is Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith. Yuck. 7-10, 2 7-10 seasons. Hasn't really been able to get Kyle Pitts, like just ignoring Kyle Pitts. Weird. And I was an Arthur Smith guy. I absolutely wanted the Jets to hire Arthur Smith, so this is not me being like, oh, you're just an Arthur Smith hater. No, a couple years ago, I was very big on Arthur Smith, and I think he's a okay coach, but 18 is too high, and I think he's about even with Saleh. So if I'm putting Saleh at 22 on my list, then I would probably put Arthur Smith at 23. Or if you flip-flop them, all right, I'm not going to argue too much over that. So I think he is better, or at least even with him. So for a drop-off from 18 to 25, 7 spots is a really big difference and something that I personally can't get behind. But it's not an egregious list from Ross Tucker, who I'm not usually a big fan of him. I think he has a very obvious anti-Jets bias, which rubs me the wrong way. I think he's very negative and just puts these rhetorics out there that are just off base. I don't know. I don't really care for his Jets opinions, but 25, while I am a little bit higher on Robert Saleh. I'd put him at 22. Like, you're splitting hairs. It's three spots. And that's not to say that Saleh can't jump up this list. I think he can. Unfortunately, with how the team finished last year, he's going to take the brunt of that. But with Aaron Rodgers and with a really good team around him, if the Jets win 11, 12 games this year, make the playoffs, win a couple playoff games, hell, win a Super Bowl. If they win a Super Bowl, he's skyrocketing up this list. Even if they make the playoffs and win a playoff game or two, he is going up this list. So I don't think his floor is which is, I guess, where he is now, right? At 25. Like, I don't think he's going to be this forever. I do think there is room for improvement. And I think if the team starts winning games, people are going to turn around a little bit on Robert Saleh. There were a lot of things he did last year that I liked. And yeah, I guess we'll go from there. But I guess I want to hear from you as well. Where do you put Robert Saleh on your list? Sound off below. Where would you rank him amongst coaches? I'm Matt O'Leary. I'll talk to you next time.